In this video, we are going to learn about the enzymes, enzyme inhibitors, enzyme inhibitions, and the factors affecting the enzymatic reactions. Now, what affects enzyme activity? There are three major factors which are normally affecting the enzyme activity. The first one is the cofactors and coenzymes. The second one is the environmental conditions like temperature and pH and substrate concentrations. And lastly, the factor is enzyme inhibitors. We are going to learn about all these topics in details. Now the first one is the coenzyme reaction. What is a coenzyme or cofactor? Coenzyme and cofactor normally both binds to the inactivated protein site to produce a catalytic site where the substrate can come and bind and carry on the enzymatic reaction. This is the major function of the coenzyme. Coenzymes help transfer a functional group to a molecule. For example, coenzyme A is converted to acetyl-CoA in a mitochondria using pyruvate and NAD. We all know that coenzyme A or acetyl-CoA, when it is converted, is one of the major enzymes required for cell signaling or apoptosis or programmed cell death. Acetyl-CoA can then be used to transfer an acetyl group CH3CO to aid in fatty acid synthesis. Then only when it is get activated with the help of the coenzyme reactions, it only help the cell to produce the fatty acid synthesis. Factors affecting enzymatic activity majorly have the highlighting point of coenzyme and cofactors. In this diagram, we can see that the apoenzyme, which consisting of both the cofactor and the coenzyme, completely called as the holoenzyme, okay. Now, when the inactive protein which only have the apoenzyme binds to the cofactor and as well as the coenzyme, produce the holoenzyme, then only produce a catalytic site, and this catalytic site helps the substrate to bind to the whole holoenzyme, which is ultimately producing a activated protein. Cofactors and coenzymes are mainly enzymes that will work unless they are accompanied by a cofactor or coenzymes, as we already learned in the previous slide. Now, cofactor is a non-protein helper like zinc or iron. This is mainly the metals, consisting of metals like zinc or iron. And nextly is the coenzyme. Cofactor, that is an organic molecules like vitamins can bind to the apoenzyme. Now, enzyme activity increased when the metal activated enzymes or the cofactor is attached with the enzymatic body. Metalloenzymes, metals are held tightly. For example, alcohol dehydrogenase attached with zinc very tightly to process the enzymatic reaction. The availability of coenzyme increase the enzymatic activity. These are the two factors, foremost factors which helps the enzyme reaction to enhance. Secondly, it includes the environmental conditions. Now, the foremost environmental condition is the temperature. Little activity at low temperature, rate increases with high temperature. Most active at optimum temperature, that is 37 degrees C. 37 degrees C is the normal body temperature in human beings. activity lost with denaturation at high temperature. When it comes under an environment of very high temperature, the enzymes get degraded. In low temperature, its activity is very less or very little, but in optimum temperature or in the moderate temperature like 37 degrees C, similar to the body temperature of human being, the enzymatic activity reaches its peak. This is called the optimum temperature. The effect of temperature: for most enzymes, the optimum temperature is about 30 to 37 degrees C. Many are a lot lower. Cold water fish will die at 30 degrees C because their enzymes denature. In fishes above 30 degrees C, the enzyme denature in their body. A few bacteria have enzymes that can withstand or tolerate very high temperatures up to 100 degrees C, like thermophiles. And nextly, the most enzymes, however, are fully denatured at 70 degrees C. In maximum variations of enzymes naturally get denatured in 70 degrees C or above 70 degrees C, apart from some extraordinary or rare enzymes in bacteria and fungus. Temperature and enzymatic activity, how these two correlates. Now we see in this diagram that it is producing a peak. Now the middle portion of the peak is the maximum enzymatic activity, which reveals that the middle portion having the optimum temperature or about 30 to 37 degrees C in human being. Enzymes are most active at an optimum temperature. They show little activity at low temperatures. As we all know, activity is lost at high temperature and denaturation occurs. Now in the left hand side it is low temperature, in right hand side it is high temperature, but the middle where the peak is very high, it is the optimum temperature for the enzymes to react. Next one is the effect of pH on enzymatic activity or the acid-base balance. The reason for the sensitivity of the enzyme to changes in pH are, first of all, is the sensitivity. Now what is sensitivity? Sensitivity is associated with a change in protein structure leading to irreversible denaturation. It produces irreversible denaturation where the denaturation has occurs without being converted to the original structure. Next one is the catalytic activity, which depends on the quantity of electrostatic charges or the electrostatic balance on the enzyme's active site generated by the prototropic groups of the enzymes, where the prototropic or proton activated group having a positive charge is catalyzed or the balance is not maintained. In addition, the ionization of dissociable structures are affected by pH can be of importance to the reaction rate. Now the ionization or the positive and negative charge balance or electrolyte balance be a very important point for the enzymatic reaction rate. However, such effects should be determined separately in separate propaganda, where the negatively charged enzymes and positively charged enzymes can be studied in details. The effect of pH on enzymatic activity. Here in this graph we can see the optimum pH at which is about 8, pH 8, somewhere near 8, and the optimum pH is 8 where the peak goes high, or in the peak where the enzymatic activity is at its highest rate. Hydrogen ion concentration also have an influence on enzymatic activity. For most enzymes, the effective pH is around 4 to 9. It's a long range, okay. Beyond these limits, denaturation of enzymes can take place. Optimum pH for pepsin, for example, is 2, and for trypsin is 8. Factors affecting enzymes actions, like the last one is the substrate concentration. Now what is this substrate concentration? Increasing substrate concentration increases the rate of reaction, or the enzyme concentration is constant. The concentration or the amount of enzyme is constant. Maximum activity reached when all the enzymes combine with the substrate. The entire apoenzyme is combined with the substrate to produce the holoenzyme. Okay. Substrate concentration or non-enzymatic reaction. The increase in velocity is proportional to the substrate concentration, where in this graph we can see that the x-axis is the reaction velocity and the x-axis is the substrate concentration and y-axis is the reaction velocity, if we take in like this order, and the increase in velocity is directly proportional or increasing with the increase of substrate concentration. Substrate concentration enzymatic reaction, where if we take the reaction velocity maximum as V max, where the peak can be in a standard position, and in the other hand substrate concentration is going in a simultaneous order. The faster the reaction reaches the saturation point when all the enzymes molecules are occupied. This is the V max. Okay. If you alter the enzyme, then V max will change to, like V0 is the velocity at 0 time or the initial time. Okay, 0 point, and which is equal to V max or the saturation point divided by Km. Km is the Michaelis constant for the particular enzyme under investigation, or the constant. Km is the constant, where K minus 1 plus K2 is divided by K1. Okay, and S is the substrate concentration, and the entire Michaelis-Menten equation stands as V0, that is velocity at 0 time, is equal to V max into substrate, that is divided by the constant plus the substrate. This is the entire formula for the substrate concentration of enzymatic reaction. Now it is the enzyme inhibitors. This is one of the major factors, inhibiting factors for affecting the enzymatic reactions. There are different types of inhibitions, like non-specific and specific. Specific inhibition is divided into two: irreversible and reversible. Nextly, reversible has been divided into three classifications, like competitive inhibition, non-competitive inhibition and uncompetitive inhibitions. We will look onto it, we will learn about all this in details. Now what are inhibitors? Any substance that reduce the velocity of an enzyme reaction, that reduce the total process, that inhibits or repeatedly bunking on the enzyme to reduce its rate and stop the enzymatic reaction. Then after describing with this inhibition, we shall learn about the importance of enzyme inhibition. The types of inhibitions are, as we said, competitive, non-competitive and uncompetitive. Okay, the first one is the normal binding, where the substrate comes and bind to the active site of the enzyme. Next is the competitive inhibitors, where the competitive inhibitor molecule comes and binds to the active site where the substrate cannot bind or cannot rectify or identify the place where to bind in the enzyme. Next is the non-competitive, where the inhibitor bind to another site of the enzyme, leaving off the active site, where the substrate comes and bind to the active site very easily. This is the entire processes of the inhibitions. Now first of all, we shall be doing competitive inhibition. The first in this reaction, we can see the upper diagram shows normal binding of the substrate to the enzyme. First of all, the substrate binds to the active site of the enzyme, where after having the enzymatic complex, it produces products, and the products are left away from the enzyme, leaving the active enzyme as previous structure. If inhibition or competitive inhibition comes into place, where the active site binds with the competitive inhibitor and the substrate cannot find its place to bind in the active site, having a stop in the reaction. Enzymes binding reduces its velocity and the process stops there. Okay, now this is a reversible process, not an irreversible process, where the inhibitor can leave the place of the active site and the substrate again comes and binds to the active site of the enzyme. Competitive inhibition. The structure of a competitive inhibitor is closely resembles that the enzyme is in normal enzyme normal substrate, where the substrate is in normal form, but when it comes to the enzyme and sees that there is no place for the substrate to bind, already the inhibitor has come and bind to the active site of the enzyme. Now here the V0 or the velocity of the reaction decreases, and the Vmax the ability of the enzyme to reach the peak in the maximum position remains the same, but the velocity decreases. How will the enzyme reach the maximum position? It is not possible for the enzyme to reach the maximum position. Here comes the constant, where the constant automatically increases, velocity decreases and constant increases, but the enzyme cannot reach the maximum level of the velocity, where the graph decreases. We will learn onto it. Next is the non-competitive inhibition. Non-competitive inhibition, here you can see that the enzyme have an active site where the enzyme substrate can bind, but it also have another site for the inhibitor. The inhibitor comes and bind to another site apart from the active site, and the substrate can easily bind to the enzyme. Inhibitors bind to the allosteric site, but there is a problem. When the inhibitor bind to the allosteric site, the shape of the enzyme changes. Here in this left hand side the enzymatic structure is different, but when the inhibitor bind to another side of the enzyme, the structure of the enzyme changes, where the substrate even after binding with the enzyme cannot rectify or cannot judge the enzyme. Is it the same enzyme that the substrate knew before? No, it is not. That is why the enzymatic reaction ceases over there. Okay. Non-competitive inhibitors binds to both free enzyme and enzyme substrate complex, but in contrast to competitive inhibitors, not only the active site but it also binds to another inhibitor site. Non-competitive inhibition cannot be overcome by increasing the substrate concentration. The non-inhibited remaining molecules of the enzyme behave like a more diluted solution of the enzyme because the structure of the enzyme have already changed. Now this is a more detailed structure of the non-competitive inhibitors, where the substrate also can bind, but the substrate cannot identify the enzyme because already the inhibitor have been binded with the enzyme previously. The structure of the enzyme changes. The substrate comes and cannot rectify the enzyme, and it cannot bind or go away. Non-competitive inhibitor can combine with either the free enzyme or enzyme substrate complex, interfering both with the action of the entire hollow enzyme. Deforms the shape of the enzyme. It alters the shape and conformation of the enzyme. Slow down both velocity of the enzymatic reaction slows down, where the reaction ceases. Now uncompetitive inhibition, where the inhibitors binds only to the enzyme substrate complex, where the enzyme is already bind with the substrate, the uncompetitive inhibitors comes and bind to the total enzyme substrate complex. The enzyme substrate inducer complex providing a total structure as enzyme substrate inhibitor complex. Added substrate increases inhibitor effect. Now this when the inhibitor comes and bind to the substrate, the velocity of the enzymatic reaction drops down because the formation of glyphosate. Draw an altered plot, because when the glycophosphate is formed by the substrate, it activates the inhibitor more, and as the active inhibitor is excessive in more amount, then it will induce a change in the substrate or the enzyme itself, producing a cease to the total enzymatic reaction. Okay, now if we come again, the enzyme is already bind to the substrate, where the inhibitor comes and bind to the enzyme substrate together. Okay, as soon as the uncompetitive inhibitor binds, substrate produce a glyphosate, which increase the ability of the uncompetitive inhibitor, producing a cease to the total enzymatic process. Now in this graph, if we see in the above graph, the normal enzyme have reached the maximum velocity at a very short span of time, where the competitive inhibitors, in the graph of competitive inhibitor, it reaches in a very late process, and in uncompetitive inhibitor it not reach the maximum level at all. In the graph below, I have been showing that how Vmax or Vmax is the highest specified velocity, and in for uninhibited enzyme, in the green line, it is showing that the Vmax is reached by a short span of time, but the competitive inhibitor, in competitive inhibitor, the Vmax is reached but in a delayed time, and in non-competitive inhibitor the Vmax has been reduced to a very short range. This normally highlights the entire process of the enzyme inhibition. Now, what are the importance of enzyme inhibition? Firstly, for understanding the regulation of enzyme activity within the living cell, we need to know the importance of enzyme inhibition, because if our body is suffering from enzyme inhibition and we does not know about the thing, then it will cause a very huge problem to our body. To elucidate the kinetic mechanism of an enzyme catalyzing in a multi-substrate reaction, where the substrate has been added externally, we should know about the enzyme substrate inhibition. If we supply a huge amount of substrate or in a multiple basis, we should know about the enzyme inhibition. How will this react? Useful in elucidating the cellular metabolic pathway by causing accumulation of intermediates. We also have to know the intermediate structures, intermediate processes, to know our cell biology very smoothly. Identification of the catalytic groups at the active site. We should know about the active site, about the enzymatic reaction, to know about the catalytic or metabolism of the body. Provide information about substrate specificity of the enzyme. These are very important for the study importance of enzymatic reactions or enzymatic inhibition. If you like my video, please subscribe to my channel and do have a look to my other videos as well. Thank you.